is a livestock guardian dog who usually lives outdoors, but he had to have a bilateral ACL. What was it he had? Bilateral ACL, whatever the dog version of ACL is, on both hind legs. And so Breck has been in the house for 2 weeks. And he has adjusted very well to being a house dog. And seeing as he's bigger than the couch, I just lie on Breck. Anyway, so Breck is not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about, somebody posted me a comment or a question about shoplifting, which is common, with a common side effect, I would say, of the brain believing that you're in an environment of resource scarcity, the urge to shoplift. Most of those of us who shoplift when we have an eating disorder don't do it because we can't financially afford to get things. It's because we feel very stressed or anxious about the idea of spending money, which makes sense if you think about it. If your brain believes that you're in an area of food shortage or environment of food shortage, then it could believe that resources in general are scarce, which would happen usually if there was food scarcity. And so the brain can come a bit hoarderish and not want to spend money and want to save everything. Now, this person's particular question, she was saying that she'd been in recovery, nutritionally rehabilitating, over a lot of the sort of restricted desires and things like that had lessened or gone away, and she thinks a lot of this was due to the sort of environment, scarcity, COVID, I don't know, whatever. Her urge to shoplift was still there, or still having to fight that. And I think to a degree, there is probably an element of rewiring that we need to do around our other resource scarcity. And so it sounds like you're doing sort of good on the food front, but you may need to rewire or teach your brain that you can safely spend money. And I had to do that, definitely. I had to actively and intentionally force myself to be more spendy, because I was real tight ass about everything. And it would absolutely make me feel sort of very stressed. Will you stop moving? To the thought of having to spend money. And so when I recognized this, I guess my default, because when I was in recovery, I didn't know it was rewiring. I was just doing what I felt like needed to be done, and I worked all that out later. But I just sort of recognized, this makes me feel afraid, this makes me feel anxious, the thought of spending money. As soon as I recognized that, in the same way I realized this makes me feel afraid, or this makes me feel anxious to eat high-fat stuff or whatever, or not exercise and things, I was like, God damn it, this is what I've got to do then. This is what I've got to force myself to do. And so I did force myself, pushed myself out of my comfort zone with spending money, and that seemed to sort of like start off the rewiring about that. And it really didn't take me a long time before my brain was like, this is actually really fun. And yeah, have no problem spending money ever since. But so that would be my suggestion there. Just have a look at it. How can you actually rewire this? How can you actually think about training your brain to, or showing your brain that you can spend money and nothing bad happens, and actually sort of overcoming that environment of resource scarcity that your brain still evidently has a little bit of a foot or maybe just a toe in. All right, bye.